Clark thought about pulling up from three, will dip inside.
Another frustrating Caitlin Clark debate further proves she is still undervalued. Diana Taurasi is one of the greatest basketball players ever. She has won at every level and taken home several individual accolades. When she announced her retirement, it sent shockwaves through the world of women's basketball. Taurasi played at Tukin from 2000 to 2004 and then in the WNBA until 2024. Many fans do not even remember a time when Taurasi was not at the forefront of women's basketball. As a result, her legacy is still being discussed, and rightfully so. ESPN's Ari Chambers, Alexa Philippou, and Same Ravik ranked the top 5 women's college basketball players in honor of Taurasi's career. It was an incredibly challenging exercise. There are so many great players to choose from that narrowing it down to 5 always means someone worthy will be left off the list. Chambers, Philippou, and Ravik eventually decided on Breanna Stewart, Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi, Maya Moore, and Cheryl Miller as their top 5. While all 5 are great players and certainly have a case to be named as one of the top women's college players ever, the list is missing one big name, the all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball. Caitlin Clark is still not getting the respect she deserves. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark was a part of the discussion. After putting Stewart at the number 1 spot, the analysts decided to start working their way backward and select the 5th best player next. Ari Chambers put forth Cheryl Miller's name, and Same Ravik suggested Caitlin Clark. However, Chambers argued that Clark could not be on the list because she had never won a championship in college. While Chambers did give Clark credit for her impact on women's basketball and her individual talent, she was ultimately left off the list. Clark may not have won a championship, but she did plenty of other great things in college. Most notably, she broke the scoring record. On top of that feat, she also led Iowa to 2 NCAA finals, was the NCAA scoring and assist leader 3 times each, was the Naismith College Player of the Year twice, got 3 unanimous first-team All-American selections, and was named the Big Ten Player of the Year 3 times over her college career. She had a great individual career and also led her teams to wins, even if it was not enough for a championship. As if that was not enough yet, Clark drew plenty of fans to women's basketball, in college as well as the WNBA. Teams are still moving games against the Fever to bigger arenas. Maybe it will take winning a WNBA championship for Clark to finally get all the credit she truly deserves. NCAA women's game thriving despite loss of Clark's star power. There was concern that attendance and overall interest in women's college basketball would drop this year with the departure of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese and other stars for the WNBA. Both took a dip, but only a dip. With Juju Watkins and Paige Buchers and a host of other standout players leading the way. Attendance across the country was just short of last season's record numbers in women's hoops and still the second highest ever. More networks showed more games on TV this season and ratings were strong heading into March Madness that starts this week. ESPN will have the lion's share of tournament games again, but Fox increased its footprint in the sport with 5 games in primetime on Saturday nights and 18 total on the network. There are great stars, great brands, we've done more than we have done before and we're not alone in doing that, Fox Sports President of Insights and Analytics Mike Mulvihill said. The March 5, 2010 year trend clearly is an upward trend. While the network's overall ratings are down from last season's record mark that was due in large part to Clark being on Fox a lot, Mulvihill is happy with where they are. To go from 0 exposures a few years ago to 18 on our biggest platform speaks to the growth and interest in the sport, he said. There's growing confidence in this building that we can put it on broadcast and justify it. I love that we are able to put games on in primetime. It means something to the coaches and players. Having great matchups helps. The game between Watkins USC and Buchers UConn on December 21st was shown in primetime after an NFL game and averaged 2.2 million viewers, peaking at nearly 3.8 million. That was the second most watched women's game on the network behind only Clark's game last year when she set the NCAA scoring record. The network also helped spearhead 2 new tournaments this year with the Champions Classic and the Coretta Scott King Invitational. Both were renewed for next season.
A young lady there in Iowa City did more with less than anybody, and people say, well, she's like Pistol Pete Maravich. Maravich never went to the Final Four or the final game. And look, in my view, because of where I grew up, I am biased and how old I am, you will never tell me there was a better
from last year and 41% from 2 seasons ago. This was the most watched year for the network before the cause since 2008-09.
What makes a top 5 player? winning. The only strike against Caitlin Clark is that she has not won a national championship.
That's
and
fair.
that is the only thing that you can put against her, because the way she has dominated the record books when she was at Iowa was something you cannot duplicate. She's a three-time NCAA